And welcome back. We have been joined by three individuals for the first segment of the show, which we will be discussing the National Agriculture and Trade Show 2017. As such, we have been joined by Belarmino Esquivel. He's a Director of Extension Services with the Ministry of Agriculture. Good morning, Belarmino.
Good morning.
We're also joined by Ms. Meira Flowers. She is the Female Farmer of the Year 2017. And of course, Gary Canto. He's the Male Farmer of the Year. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
So, of course, we are gearing up towards a very big annual event, which is the annual Agricultural and Trade Show. I want to start off, Belarmino, with just talking about what the original purpose of the Agricultural Trade Show has been and how the Ministry of Agriculture works to put together this event.
First of all, I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity for highlighting the National Agriculture and Trade Show. As it is customary, this is a great event. This is one of the biggest events the Ministry of Agriculture really organizes, primarily to focus agriculture, primarily to highlight agriculture as one of the major income generating opportunities, one of agriculture being one of the sector that creates employment, that brings in foreign exchange, that provides food for our people. Therefore, that event, the Agriculture Show, is about that. It's about highlighting that particular sector, the agriculture sector, as a very important one for the development and growth and development of our country.
Let's put it into perspective. Agriculture still remains one of the top revenue earners for this country. And at this point, we are still not self-sufficient, which means there is more room for persons to enter into this particular field.
I tend to disagree a bit on that statement. However, I want to indicate that I think the agriculture sector, in some subsectors, it has been self-sufficient. We are self-sufficient in poultry, for example, corn, beans. So we have major subsectors where we can confidently say that agriculture is we are self-sufficient in these particular
some areas.
In some areas.
Overall, no.
Overall, yes, there are some other areas that probably we will need to do some more improvement. And as you clearly indicated, our traditional exports have been dwindling, and there is a high probability of us as the ministry to engage in diversifying the sector. More importantly, in the cattle sector, sheep, for example, onions, and so forth in the vegetable area.
Yeah. So, but going back to the issue that it is a top revenue earner for the country, and I suppose the challenge with agriculture is the risks that are involved. It's very labor intensive, and I'll get you guys to share in on that. A natural disaster like a hurricane or a flood can severely affect your produce or your animals if that's what you're farming. We had the instance with the shrimp farm with a bacterial infection, citrus greening when it comes to citrus. So there are challenges involved in entering into agriculture. How do you help to promote to people that the risks are worth the rewards?
Yes, we can't run away from the fact that agriculture is vulnerable to natural disasters, to hazards, natural hazards. And we have experienced, obviously, prolonged droughts. And in that instance, for example, the ministry, when it comes to the crops area, we try to promote technologies that can make farmers more resilient, they can adopt technologies that can make that can mitigate that risk, that vulnerability. For example, when we have prolonged droughts, we try to have irrigation systems in place. The large-scale farmers have invested in pivot systems, for example, so you can ameliorate the effects of hazards. Indeed, the ministry also is looking at promoting vegetable production under protective structures, for example. Those are technologies that are available there, and you can prolong the harvesting period, and you can reduce, more so importantly, the vulnerability of farmers. So there are technologies available. that can mitigate the effects of climate change or, like you said, natural hazards.
Now, Belarmino, let me throw a curveball at you this morning, just to kind of, in a sense, bring things back to the agriculture and trade show, but at the same time, looking at a general picture. Over the years, it would seem as if though the idea of the National Agriculture and Trade Show has shifted and transformed from a primary focus on agriculture and more on entertainment, free credit, and toilet paper. You'll forgive me for putting it in that order, but it's sort of the impression that one gets now when they think about the Agriculture and Trade Show. It's less about livestock and farming and looking at the contribution of this particular sector and more about some of the deals on phones and what have you. What are you guys doing as organizers and as stakeholders in this annual event to try to steer things back into that specific focus?
Over the years, I think the National Agriculture and Trade Show has evolved from what it was, a rum show or whatever, to focus primarily on agriculture. And as you, and even the way, the setting at the showgrounds, we have at the very forefront, we have the livestock area being promoted tremendously. We have the crop displays. So while I agree that we have the Digicel, we have the other phone companies into it, and we have a space for everybody. But the main focus and primary focus has been that we need to showcase the agriculture show. By the way, this year we are going to have, there have been major upgrades, infrastructural upgrades. We have new bathroom facilities. No longer we're having portable bathroom facilities. Our headquarters will be there. The ministry's office will be there. That just tells you how important that showgrounds in itself has transformed. And then we also have a vegetable garden. We have the technologies that I also mentioned to you already. The cover structure. We will have a farmers market. So we are indeed concentrating, giving it that primary focus that it relates to really showcasing to the farming community, to Belizean in general, that agriculture plays a fundamental role in the development of our country.
Absolutely. And I want to jump into part of the highlight of every national agricultural trade show is the announcing of your Farmers of the Year. And there are three categories. There's Best Male, Best Female, and Best Junior, right?
That is correct.
And let's jump into the conversation with the two of the three Farmers of the Year. And Merva, I want to start off with you. You are from Toledo.
Yes.
And I want to ask, how long have you been involved in farming?
Well, like 10 years.
Okay. And what made you decide that this was how you were going to sustain yourself?
Well, when I started off, I saw agriculture as employment or for my home and different bills and so. So from my farm, I make money, my garden, my livestock, you know, and my kids and grandkids.
What did you first start with?
You first start with a nursery, florist nursery.
So you started to sell plants first?
Yes,
yeah. Okay. And then what made you move from, because some people focus a lot just on a nursery.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work too, with how fickle flowering plants can be as well. But what made you move into, you're now doing vegetables, you've now ventured into tilapia. I mean, you have a full-fledged farm.
Yes, Mom. It is encouraging, you know. You want to have everything, you know. I live off of my farm.
Yeah.
I raise my own tilapia. I have my sheep, my pig, my chickens, my garden, my nursery, my farm, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
How has the upkeep been in terms of all of these different things going on your farm? What has the day-to-day been like? Did you have to hire someone else to help you? Are you doing this all by yourself? I know you're leading the charge. I mean, you're at the forefront of it, but how has that been?
Well, I have my husband, my daughter, my granddaughter, and my grandson. We all work together. And we don't hire nobody to work, so we keep it in the family.
Now let's talk to Gary. Gary, you are from Cayo, and here's one good thing people can know. Everybody loves raving about San Ignacio and Belmopan Market, and those are your primary areas where you sell your vegetables. How did you first get into farming?
First, I get in farming when my father is working part-time. My father is part-time farming. He goes,
Okay.
you have to come out, find some job for us. I see my father problem. He like the farm. He cannot do it. And I say, when I get bigger, I say I will help my father, and that's why I dedicate for my farm.
Now, the interesting part of your story is that you are exactly what Belarmino spoke about. You have ventured into using technology as your way of getting the best produce possible. You have a greenhouse that you use. Talk to me about going from what your father traditionally did in the farm to moving to using technology. Why did you decide to do that?
Why did I? Because before the raining is good, and now I say I don't have to wet everything, and then dry season come. I say the water system came, and I say I will dedicate my life farming.
So the rain and dry cycle aren't the same anymore.
Yeah.
So you had to do something
Yes.
to make the crops more to produce and be more predictable, right? What all do you farm? What all you have on your farm?
We have watermelon. I have sweet pepper. I have peanuts. I have pigs. I have sheep. I have cows. Now I go in for tilapia.
Okay. And you do the full vegetable spectrum.
Yes. I
Okay.
do.
In terms of tilapia, because I noticed that is common, you both have that in common.
Yes, sir.
Are you guys receiving any training in terms of how to start up a tilapia project? I know the Taiwanese have been very instrumental in working with farmers to try to get this level of expertise going. Have you guys been working with them, or are you doing this on your own?
By my own.
Okay.
On your own?
On your own.
On your own. Now, I appreciate them speaking about that, because Isani pointed out something very important, that the Taiwanese project, in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, recently concluded with your handing over of, what is it called? It's like a hatchery. Yeah.
Hatchlings,
Yeah. And it really was to promote people venturing into, and you spoke about diversification, venturing into farming fish. This is a great testament that that's a success, right?
Indeed, what I want to highlight in that particular area about tilapia farming is that we have a operational hatchery unit at Central Farm, and we are able to produce fingerlings, which we're able to give farmers. And we also conduct trainings in different areas, no? When it has to do with the production and the overall management of the tilapia. So that in itself is a high protein, has a high protein content. So we're not only promoting it as a diversification, but also as a food source, as a protein source.
Now, how do you choose who the Farmer of the Year is going to be?
Yeah.
Okay, a very good question. The process starts at the district level. We request each district agriculture officer with his technical team to select their best female, male, and junior farmer. Then they develop a profile, which is submitted to the ministry. And at the ministry level, we select 3 judges. One from the ministry, 2 from partners in development. We have a representative from CARDI at this point in time, and we had the Pesticide Control Board. These 3 judges review the profile, and they make visits to each district, and they go through selection criteria. And the farmers, or within that category, male, female, or junior, who get the highest score, according to the criteria, those are the ones who are selected to be the winners. So they compete at the national level. So if we have the junior farmer, it's because he won nationwide. He got the highest score, the female the same, and the male the same.
What are some of the things that you're looking for?
One of the particular criteria that we're looking at is how the farm is diversified, their operations. So we are looking at if must have crops, and must have livestock, and how they are integrated, more importantly, how you make use of the resources that you have available, how you integrate them so that you can maximize your output.
So in other words, using stuff from the animals to help with the plants and
correct.
vice versa.
That is correct. For example, if you have you're not burning the trash, you're not burning the debris, but rather you're turning it into compost.
Yeah.
Another criteria we look at is the knowledge of their husbandry practices, how they do their weeding, how they do fertilizer application. So we also look at their knowledge of innovation, if they have adopted new technologies, like I tell you, particularly those technologies that go in line with climate resiliency or adaptation to climate change. So we look at those their husbandry practices.
And from the ministry standpoint, because Gary and Meira are being so modest, tell us what stood out about their farms.
About which?
Their farms.
Their farms. Actually, I think one is their passion. The next thing is their entrepreneurship. They look at their farm as their business, their income generating. They are solely dedicated to farming. And what's important is that we are not only looking at the male, but we are looking at the female. We can see that female can do a lot. They can contribute to putting on food to the table. They can bring in that food, and there are farms that are diversified. The next aspect that we looked at is their ability of, as a farmer, to open up to the community. They are able to share their knowledge. So these farmers are very prominent farmers where if you have other farmers to come and see and look for themselves what they have done, what they have achieved, they are willing to share.
That's
so
nice.
I think that is a particular characteristic we're also looking at into these farmers, because we will take these farmers and we will use their farmers, model farms, to showcase to other farmers.
I was just about to ask that, because the title is a title of distinction, to be the male or the female farmer of the year, right? And it stands out around this time of year going into the show. How does the Ministry of Agriculture work with these respective farmers following the show, in terms of all the spotlight has been, turned off and everything? Now it's back to business in terms of helping these people to develop their products, to be able to continue to market. As you said, Meira's farm is her business. Same thing with Gary. That's your livelihood. That's how you make your day-to-day living. How do you guys step in to assist them to continue being as lucrative in their respective fields?
First of all, we continue building their knowledge, their changing attitudes, sometimes changing old techniques, improving. And we also try to tie them up. Right now, at this particular agriculture trade show, we are going to have people who will be willing to sponsor a particular technique, a particular demonstration. So technology that will help their productivity. But we will continue to work hand in hand with them. Actually, the prices are very good prices. The farmers, apart from getting cash, they get a heifer, they would get pigs, or they would get sheep. It depends. So that is, the prices are quite big, but in developing their capacity, we will be working with them as it relates to developing their capacity to become more resilient, more less vulnerable to climatic conditions.
And we know that pesticide use is one that is also very important when you're looking at farms. You want to be able to keep it, and a lot of people are asking for what kind of chemicals are you using. But you still have to do something to get the bugs and pests away so they don't cut into your bottom line. What have you guys done to control how much chemicals you use but still keep all the hazards away? What do you do at your farm?
I use pesticide control. I use not too much, a little bit. And then I do my compost, the garlic. I mix it with garlic, 2 pounds in 1 bucket. Then I left it for 2 days. I put it the apazote
Apazote helps to keep the bugs away?
Yeah, you have 2 pounds leaf. You mix it and the garlic, and in 3 days you go spray it 1 liter for 1 spray pan.
So you created your own organic pesticide.
Yes, organic.
Fantastic. And how about you, Merva?
I use the same thing too, and my husband used the how you call it, the magic cacao.
Okay.
He grind the leaves, and he used that also.
How did you discover this? This is just a
Something sounds
a
traditional.
recipe that is passed down from farmer to
I
farmer.
think so.
Sounds
Yeah.
traditional.
But what made you decide to shift away from pesticides? I mean, you'll have to use a little. I'm hearing you say.
Use a little.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what made you decide that I'm going to try to use less chemicals?
Well, because it is
Cost effective?
yes.
You save more money?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think too there's an impression from the consumer that the less chemicals being used to deal with the product on a whole is one, environmentally friendly, and it's more healthier in terms of consumption. Because you want to be careful that you're not ingesting all of these chemicals that are sprayed or introduced in the plants.
You
Correct.
seem to have quite an interest in recyclable goods as
Yeah.
well. And that's one of the things that we've read about you, that you use anything and everything to help you in your farm. Tell me about some of the things you've incorporated into your farming practice.
Well, in my garden, in my nursery, I would use tires, you know, gallons, empty buckets, pans, anything from the kitchen. Instead of throwing it away, I would make it to use.
Yeah.
You know, I put my plants in it, and they grow, and people come and buy them. You know, and I make money.
Yeah, nothing wastes.
And that's
Nothing
the
goes
most
to waste,
important
yes,
part.
wow.
And I want you both to speak about that. People look at farming as hard work, and they don't necessarily see it for the money-making opportunity that may come. What do you tell other people when they say, oh, you have a farm? Like, that's so much work. About why they should venture into making their own farm. You tell us, Gary. Why do you tell people that they should go into farming?
Because farming is no people are left in farming because it's expensive. Chemical side, you have to plow, you have to hold the sun, you have to do everything
And why do you tell them they should continue?
to continue because the farming is getting less people. You have if you dedicate yourself, you will enjoy how you grow your sweet pepper. When you go sweet and pretty, you have to show them. You get more courage for the plant.
Yeah.
Some people they left the farm because when they like dry season or turkey, they don't got money for continue again.
Okay. All right.
I find my farm as I enjoy working in the farm. It's hard work, you know. You're always dirty,
It's manual.
but you know it pays off, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't have a boss. You're your own boss.
You set your own hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, your quota.
Well, I wake up early in the morning and I do a part of work, go back inside and get something to eat, and I go back again.
And how do you become successful? People think you have to have a green thumb. In other words, I have to be good at growing it and maintaining it. Tell me about your experience. Is it very difficult to maintain a farm?
No, it's just that you've got to stay on it, you know. Like some people would just maybe plant a seed and leave it there for a week or 2 weeks or a month and goes back and look at it. No, you have to watch your plant grow. You can see every day, you know, check it every day that everything is going well.
You have to nurture it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That requires a lot of patience, Marlene.
But it is a lucrative, it can be a lucrative business. And I think obviously you two speak about that, the business aspect of it. I know we spoke about using the National Agricultural Trade Show as an opportunity for people to recognize that this is a viable business that they can enter. What other incentives or perhaps promotions or educational activities does the ministry offer for somebody who's interested in going into farming? So if somebody from Belize City who's never been around a farm says, okay, I wanna venture into creating my own, I'll get land and go ahead. What are some of the incentives or additional support that's offered?
One is the technical support that we provide at the ministry level. We have technical people who have expertise in particular areas. For example, at the ministry, we promote a lot the school gardens, for example, in the Toledo district. In Belize, we have worked with schools where we have been able to inculcate this into the younger generations. So we provide that level of support to the research and development unit. The technical experts come to the schools and they will provide that level of capacity to these teachers and the student as well. So if there is a big farmer, for example, a commercial farmers, when we experienced the previous drought, 2013-14 or so, where most of the corn farmers, most of their corn production was devastated by that prolonged drought. Some of these farmers wanted to import, for example, irrigation equipment, a whole system. So we looked at case by case applications of farmers where they wanted to bring in a system that will cost them $100,000, and they would have had to pay 13% import duty. That import duty was removed.
Okay.
We also try to link farmers, facilitate farmers with the commercial or financial institutions.
Okay.
We work with vegetable farmers, with credit unions, for example, in Corozal, with the credit union in Corozal. We facilitate meetings and we provide that level of support, financial literacy to the farmers, extension support, technical support, and also if they do require additional trainings, ministry is there to provide that.
You also speak about diversifying.
Indeed.
What are some of the areas that perhaps people can capitalize on if they want to venture into farming?
Well, as I think, as we have mentioned, our traditionals, are facing some major challenges, and you have clearly indicated those. But yes, the ministry is thriving and making efforts in trying to diversify the sector in other opportunities. The one industry that has a lot of potential is the cattle industry. Obviously, we have to know how to do it sustainably. Because on one side you have development, and on the other side you will have it brings challenges. Development brings challenges. The other area we're looking at is through the FAO project and the support of the European Union. We are looking at sheep production. We also have that through genetic. We want to expand and diversify the sector in sheep production. We also have honey in the north. And countrywide, we have that high in the agenda of the ministry, honey production. One, because of it has to do with bees. Bees are pollinators and, like you said, friendly to the environment. The other area has to do with the farmers in the north with onion production. So we are supporting these options. Or we are providing options to farmers as a whole, that there's not only relying on one monocrop, but also that there are other opportunities, diversification.
So ideally, you'd want people to not venture into, or not just venture into the traditional crops, to try new areas and have multiple crops that they're
well, our job is to provide options. So we're not saying get away or run away from doing sugarcane or citrus or bananas, but rather diversify within. If you can have your monocrop, but you can diversify. In other words, don't have one egg in one basket. Because we're vulnerable to the markets, with globalization. Our trade, export, our preferential markets, our preferential prices are dwindling. So our job as a ministry is to provide those other options that we have. So that's part of our job.
What about cacao?
Cacao, well, that's a particular commodity in the south. There is a lot of interest in that particular area, and it's our cacao is known to be one of the best, just as the citrus juice and the citrus concentrate. and our sugar. So I think we need to move from the primary production, but more into value adding as well. We need to look at that.
Yeah.
We need to continue creating that ambient to allow for more value adding, looking and ensuring that it is no longer just to produce for a sake, but we need to look at quality, agriculture, health as a whole. As you clearly mentioned, we need to have and ensure that we meet some standards. We need to meet some certification. We need to. So that is a message that I'm sending to the overall farming community. That it is not just a sake for producing, but producing quality, consistency, and competitively, meaning that you're able to compete with your import products.
You must always have your market in mind.
That's
in
correct.
terms of being able to deliver at a specific standard and being able to do so consistently.
At all times, it must be market driven. You must be able to satisfy the customer. You must be able to satisfy your clientele.
Yeah.
And when your clientele or your customer, gives you certain characteristics and that you have to meet certain standards.
Yeah.
So in that regard, we have also ventured in a lot of training through the Belize Marketing and Development Corporation with the vegetable farmers to ensure that there is technologies that the cover structure, for example, where you use less pesticides. Because where you use, you can produce a more quality produce. It's about sorting, it's about grading, it's about packaging, it's about selling your product. And like our minister has always said, no, let's get growing. But let's get growing smartly, meaning that we are able to institute that within our systems of operation, production systems, and that at the end of the day, we want to satisfy our market, whether it be national or international.
And lastly, from our female and male farmer of the year, just tell us what this distinction means for you. What does it mean to be awarded female of the year?
Well, it means much to me because
You've earned it for one.
I
Worked all year
work
round.
hard to earn it, and I think that I'm showing example to other females out there that they can do the same.
I love that you say that, because you are the farmer of the year. It's not that it's your husband's idea. You jumped into this first. Yeah. And Gary, for you?
Well, I am excited to be the one that I work hard for it.
Yeah.
Very hard. I come out 6 in the morning and then I get break and then I go night 7 I left.
Yeah.
Excited.
Lots of work, but worth it.
Lots of work. It's worth it in the end.
Yeah, okay. Well, we hope that you have inspired even more people to venture into farming. There's also the Junior Farmer of the Year. Let's just go ahead and say his name.
Yes, we have Mr. Santiago Gutierez. He's from the Cayo district. Also, he was the successful candidate. He's the successful Junior Farmer of the Year. And as you can see, those are young people. He's a 20-year-old junior farmer. He has ventured into agriculture, and he's taken agriculture as a business. And I think he expresses the same sentiments as the female and the senior or the male farmer of the year, sir.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here this morning. Congratulations. The details of the National Agricultural Trade Show as we go.
Yes, opening ceremonies is the 28th of April, 3 p.m. And then thereafter, on Saturday, the 29th, we continue with the displays. We have the National Agriculture and Trade Show Garden, Vegetable Garden. You can see at first hand what it is to establish a vegetable garden. You will see cover structures there. You will see innovation models. We are asking each and every district to bring their innovation models as it relates to building resiliency, showcasing what a model looks like, what a system looks like, irrigation systems, forage banks, protein banks, etc. So we will have all those. We will have rodeo. We will have the rodeo, which is a spectacular moment. We will have livestock displays. we will have the exhibits, the crop exhibits. So it's the theme of the National Agriculture and Trade Show is the Let's Get Growing. Like I've already indicated, that's I think a very good theme for this year's National Agriculture and Trade Show. And very importantly, I want to highlight that it is agriculture that is being showcased. There's a space for everybody, but with a main focus or emphasis on agriculture as a business.
Okay. Well, thank you once again.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to seeing you at the National Agricultural Trade Show as well.
Sure.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, the conversation continues with representatives of the University of Belize on celebrating Earth Day 2017.